Hi there, thanks for joining me today. This is a card that we're going to make today, and I wanted to show you this card because it is one of my all-time favorite go-to sketches. This is a variation on a card that was actually in the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog from last year, so the 2011 Annual Catalog. And I love this sketch for all occasions. It's very simple, uses very minimal supplies. It's great for beginners because you can see here there's only one stamped image on this card. You don't have to do any special techniques or special inking. It's a great way to showcase your favorite designer series paper. And it's really great for Christmas cards because it's super easy to mass produce and it's not going to cost you a fortune because the supplies that you use are really very minimal, just a few sheets of cardstock. So let's go ahead and get started. So I just want to show you briefly, this is why this sketch is so great for Christmas cards. These are all of the pieces that you need except for the embellishment. And as you saw earlier on this card, I chose to do the embellishment as this cute little bow from the gorgeous sweater trim from the holiday catalog, but you can use whatever kind of embellishment there you like. But I just have a few pieces of cardstock, and you can honestly get several cards made out of just a few full sheets of the 8.5 by 11 cardstock. My card base is 4 1/4 by 11. It's just a half a sheet of very vanilla cardstock, and I scored it at 5 1/2. And then I have a gumball green layer that measures just about 1/8 of an inch smaller on the two sides. So it'll leave us with about a 1/16 inch border all the way around on our card base. My very vanilla piece that I'm going to stamp on measures 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. My designer paper measures 3 1/4 by 3. And then I just have a little scrap of cherry cobbler. This measures about a 1/2 inch wide, and I think it's like 3 3/4 inches long. For my little banner. So as you can see, with very minimal investment in cardstock, you can make a ton of these cards. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to stamp our image. I am using this awesome text stamp that the focal word here is Christmas, and then in the background, I don't know if you can see that, but those are all, the shading is all made up of words related to Christmas. And I love this stamp because you know that I am just in love with anything with text print on it. The stamp set, or the stamp, comes from the Seasonal Sayings stamp set, which has these great sentiments for different holidays, and these all work perfectly with this sketch because you do want a more horizontal stamp for this sketch, but any of these would work great, so you could just switch out the pattern paper to make this exact same card for another holiday. So I'm using cherry cobbler ink to stamp my sentiment, and let me just bring my designer paper back in. This is from the Be of Good Cheer designer paper, and it is in the main 2012 catalog. I love this paper because it just has 3 colors in it. It has cherry cobbler, gumball green, and very vanilla. So this entire paper collection is a no-brainer as far as coordinating with other colors, but it also goes great with the browns and crumb cake. So this is a really super versatile designer paper collection. So I've got my cherry cobbler ink. I'll just go ahead and ink up my stamp. And I'm going to stamp this pretty much at the very top of my very vanilla panel. And that is it. That is all the stamping that's on this card. So that makes it really fast to mass produce and great for beginning stampers. One more quick thing before we assemble our card, and that is to take our piece of cherry cobbler cardstock, and remember this measures a 1/2 inch by about 3 3/4 inches, and I'm just going to cut the banner ends in both sides. Let me show you my trick. I hope that you can see this. My trick for cutting banner ends perfectly every time is to cut straight up the center how far I want the banner to go in, and then I'm going to cut from the corner to the top of that slit on both sides. And I hope you can see I'm kind of supporting and keeping the scissors steady with my finger. And just like that, you'll get a perfect banner end every single time. Okay, so now we can go ahead and assemble our card. The first thing I want to do is I'm just using some snail adhesive to add my designer paper to the bottom of my Very Vanilla panel. And I just line this up at the bottom and on the two sides. And then I like to just check it from the back and make sure that I don't have any to trim off the edges, and that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere my little banner. And another tip for you is I like to use my grid mat to help me make sure that things are straight. So you can see I'm going to align this left-hand side here against one of the vertical lines on my grid mat. And then I can line the banner up with the horizontal lines on my grid mat, and I'll know that it is perfectly level every time, just like that. Then we can go ahead and adhere this whole thing to our gumball green panel. And of course, if you wanted to add a little extra dimension to your card, you could put this on dimensional adhesive. And we're just going to center this onto the gumball green panel. Then I'm going to go ahead and fold my Very Vanilla card base and use my bone folder to get a nice crisp fold. And then, still just using snail, you can go ahead and center the whole card front onto the card base. And I cut this just about 1/8 of an inch smaller overall, so there's just going to be a nice little 1/16 inch border of the Very Vanilla. And like I said, you could use dimensionals, but that is going to increase the fussiness and just very slightly increase the cost of your cards if you're mass producing them. So that's why I chose to do everything flat with snail. Now this is the gorgeous sweater trim that is in the holiday catalog right now. It comes in 3 colors. It comes in the gumball green, which is what this is, and it also comes in whisper white and cherry cobbler, and it is just gorgeous. It is so soft and fuzzy and just, I absolutely love it. It's so beautiful. So I'm just going to tie this into a really simple bow, and I'm trying to make sure that my tails of my bow are both going in the same direction. And then I will cut this off of the spool. And this sweater trim does fray a little bit, so when I use it in an embellishment like this, I like to just tie a little knot right at the very ends of the tails of my bow. So that'll keep it from fraying, and it also just creates a cute little finishing touch. And I'm just going to use my Tombow Mono Multi-Glue. And actually, I think I like that side of the bow better. So I am going to just put a little dot on here. Okay. Place that on the right hand side of my banner and just hold it down for a couple of seconds. And there we have our super cute, very simple, and very cost effective Christmas card. So thanks again for joining me today. I hope this card has given you some great ideas for your own holiday cards this year, or perhaps for other card projects for different holidays and occasions. So until next time, happy stampin'. Bye-bye.